trials. Never said I wouldn't fall. Never said that everything would go the way I want it to go. But when my back is against the wall and I feel all hope is gone, I'll just lift my head up to the sky and say, help me to be strong. Oh, I just can't give up now. I've come too far from where I've started from. Nobody told me that the road would be easy, and I don't believe God brought me this far to leave me. Oh, you didn't bring me out here to leave me lonely, even when I can't see clearly. I know that you are with me. Oh, I just can't give up now. Come too far from where I started from. Ooh, nobody told me that the road would be easy, and I don't believe God brought me this far to leave me. Oh, you didn't bring me out here to leave me lonely, even when I can't see clearly. I know that you are with me. I just can't give up now. I've come too far from where I started from. No, nobody told me that the road would be easy, and I don't believe God brought me this far to leave me. I just can't give up now. I just can't give up now. I've come too far from where I started from. No, nobody told me that the road would be easy, and I don't believe God brought me this far. I don't believe God brought me this far. No, I don't believe God brought me this far. 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 I don't believe God brought me this far to leave me.
Our reading this morning is an excerpt from Different Words by the great Grace Lee Boggs, writer, activist, keeper of history of social movements, who comes out of the Asian American activist tradition and out of organizing in Detroit. She says, "I'm often asked what keeps me going after all these years. I think it is the realization that there is no final struggle. Whether you win or lose, each struggle brings new contradictions, new and more challenging questions. We are beginning to understand that the world is always being made free and never finished, that activism can be the journey rather than the arrival. Love isn't about what we did yesterday. It's about what we do today and tomorrow and the day after." So I would like to report out from the very middle of a story of keeping going, where we don't know how it ends. My husband and I are potty training our 2-year-old. And in fact, I saw them exit through this door. So really, we might be in real time in the middle of the potty training journey. And there's a lot of things that I've wanted to quit in my life, but I've never quite wanted to quit anything like I want to quit potty training. And I will say there's a lot of wisdom in quitting. The Christian queer podcast host and author Glennon Doyle is famous for responding to a journalist who asked her how she doesn't quit by responding, "Oh, I do quit. Quitting is my favorite. Every day I quit. Every single day. And then I go to sleep and I wake up and I begin again. Begin and quit every day." But this is not a sermon on quitting. That's another very good sermon that could happen. This is a sermon about keeping going. And as far as I know, it's actually not possible to quit potty training. We could pause for a day or a week or a month, but I do believe that she must be potty trained. And we actually did take a big break. We tried for a few days in December when we didn't have daycare, and our dear, lovely, my adorable child, she peed while playing with Legos, and she peed while painting with her cousin, and she peed all over her grandfather's shoes, and did not seem to show any awareness of the fact that that was not the goal. And so we did indeed quit for a few months. And a few weeks ago, our daycare was closed for a week, and it seemed like a good time to keep going and try again. Now, perhaps you, like me, have not been reading a huge amount of potty training advice recently, but if you have, you may know that there is a often proselytized 3-day method of no pants, no diapers, no underwear. You just pay attention, let them learn their body's cues. No prizes, no stickers, no ice cream for doing what most of us do on a daily basis without a prize. And boy, did we try that with the help even of my mother, and even with grandmother assistance. 3 days, no pants, no underwear, just watching and the potty right near us. That was more than a month ago. And according to, again, all these blogs and stuff, she's ready. She can say her ABCs, she can pull down and up pants. And yet, without going into too much detail, even though I've already gone into some, she has peed in her pants everywhere from the middle of the living room while interviewing a new potential housemate to in the park twice in a row. There are, of course, many, many other higher stakes, heartbreaking keeping goings that we are trying to navigate than a little developmentally appropriate pee on the carpet. In my own particular life, there has been the need to keep going through rejection after rejection of a job search, the keeping going of packing, and then, of course, the inevitable unpacking, the keeping going of staying in relationship through conflict, staying in leadership in a struggling organization, the keeping going of moving a world toward justice despite the overwhelming heaviness of injustice and suffering. The keep going through a breakup and giving birth, through a very hot, tiring run, and very long, sad nights. Joanna Macy, whose voice we heard in the reading from the poet Rilke, was in some ways devoted to figuring out what practices of the heart and spirit allow us to keep going. The work that reconnects, she called it. I was very lucky to attend a workshop with her many years ago, and honestly, I think my brain couldn't really take it in. The teachings were so simple, the kind that are so simple that they're so deep. In her words, the biggest gift you can give is to be absolutely present. And when you're worrying about whether you're hopeful or hopeless, or pessimistic or optimistic, who cares? She says. The main thing is that you're showing up, that you're here, and that you're finding ever more capacity to love this world, because it will not be healed without that. I've learned some lessons about keeping going, maybe especially like with potty training when I really don't want to. And one is this wisdom from Macy that the biggest gift is to be absolutely present. Because at least for me, it's ruminating in the past. Did we start potty training at the right time? Did that time we put the diaper on her during the nap ruin it forever? Was it stressful that grandma was there? Or worrying about the future, will we be potty training for the next 18 years? That makes me most doubt my ability to keep going. I very clearly remember asking my midwife toward the end of labor, how many more pushes? And she said 10, and I told her very clearly and directly that I could not do 10. And my dear friend and fellow Unitarian Universalist minister, Annie Gonzalez, who was present, glared at our very lovely, very capable midwife and said, it doesn't matter how many more pushes, push the push you're pushing. Be present. And the second lesson I've learned of keeping going is to laugh when we can. Sometimes we can't. But when we can, it gets us just a little bit of distance that can make it just a little more bearable. I recently went on a hike where I literally started the hike by getting lost. I could not find the first turn on the path despite clear written instruction from a guidebook, and a nearby sign told me helpfully that I was being videotaped since I was near private property. And I imagined someone monitoring these cameras and watching me walk back and forth, back and forth, back and forth over the same maybe 20 feet of dirt road, looking for this trail marking. And this was actually at a place that was mostly on solar off-grid. And I thought, do they actually have surveillance cameras in this place that barely has lamps? Or is this all an elaborate hoax? Is someone watching me walk back and forth and back and forth? And I finally did find the trail, and I was happily hiking in the direction that I was headed when another hiker came from where I was going and told me, actually, this is not the trail. I think we missed a turn. And so I had gotten lost not only once, but twice in a very short period of time, and the second time, I didn't actually even know that I was lost. And for whatever reason, instead of feeling frustrated or stupid or judging myself for my poor navigation skills, on this particular hike, I could see the hilarity of it, of getting lost twice, and I could laugh at myself with gentleness and ease. My third lesson is don't go it alone if you can. We probably all know this one. My husband and Oscar and I have never made so many faces at each other from across the room as we have during this potty training ordeal. We make faces when she says she doesn't have to pee when she clearly does. We make faces when she's had a very messy accident that was absolutely preventable, like she did recently in the middle of a lovely art gallery. Of course, sometimes there isn't someone to make faces with. And sometimes the path we're on, for whatever reason, is unaccompanied. But sometimes we have the gift of choosing companionship and solidarity. Someone to make faces at as we dive for the wipes and clean clothes yet again. Someone who knows how challenging it is and is committed to going together. It's the reason that while I don't know the one big strategy of how to fight fascism right now, though there are many important ones that we should all be part of, I believe in trying so that we have someone to make a face at a march or a meeting or Sunday morning. Someone who knows what we're going through, a piece of what we're carrying. A fourth lesson, and maybe the one that is most present with my spirit these days, is that we don't actually know how it ends. And it's ours to keep going anyways. Another way of saying one of our Unitarian Universalist beliefs, that revelation is not sealed, that more is always being revealed. I do not actually know when my daughter will be able to make it through a day without an accident. My husband's coworker said it took their child a full year. And I've been a community organizer, lucky to have my paid work and the work of my heart being to move people to a world of more justice since 2012. I've gotten to work with young people, with people of faith, on raising the minimum wage and stopping pipelines and stopping police murders. And as many of you know, since 2017, focused on stopping deportations. And during those more than 10 years, there have been many, many moments where I have felt like I do not know how to keep going. And in particular, many moments since this past January where the amount of suffering has felt like it has just exploded my heart. From the deportations right here in our own communities, starvation and genocide in Gaza, the war on the houseless community, to the presence of old age, illness, and poverty in the lives of so many I care about. It has often felt like too much to keep going. So many reasons to give up. Grace Lee Boggs' words, I think it is the realization that there is no final struggle. Whether you win or lose, each struggle brings forth new contradictions, new questions. I cannot sadly say with certainty how to potty train a toddler, and with even less certainty how to stop deportations or stop a genocide. What I can tell you and what I know of so many of your lives is that we are willing to try. To be present now and to try to not get too lost in what if we had and what if we never. To try to laugh when we can and to cry and rage when it's better to cry and rage. To go together even when it can feel easier to isolate and separate. As many of you know, I'm a volunteer with the Boston Immigration Justice Accompaniment Network. And a few weeks ago, one of our co-founders, Sarah Kianowski, died of cancer. Some of you here today knew her very, very well. Others might have known her over Zoom or gotten an email from her. For years, she coordinated immigration court accompaniment, recruited host homes for newly arrived immigrants, all in her free time while loving her amazing family and leading Harvard's art galleries. Besides her persistence, she was known for her wit, her style, her generous hospitality, the humility with which she practiced solidarity, and her highly organized spreadsheets. At her memorial, loved ones shared how even through her illness, when asked if needed anything, she would often say what she needed was to be connected to the work of justice. She would do data entry or court accompaniment when she could, writing emails advocating for those fighting deportations from the waiting room of Dana-Farber. And when asked in her dying days what message she had for us, for the still living, she said, "Keep going." It's a vow any of us can take up if we feel like we can. Sarah raised two amazing children, I think she would have had great advice for me about potty training. I wish I could ask her, how did you work and parent and organize and be a partner and tend to your own spirit and still have such amazing spreadsheets? And how did you do it when you were so sick? How did you keep going? And I don't get to know what she would have said, though I'm sure it would have been pithy and true. Rilke's words, let everything happen to you, beauty and terror. Just keep going. No feeling is final. Nearby is the country they call life. Give me your hand. Keep going. Here we are in the middle of a million different journeys. Journeys to fight genocide, journeys to stop deportations, journeys to be and stay human and humane in this wild, wild world. The wisdom says, be present. Laugh when you can. Go together. We don't know how it ends, but we commit to see our piece through. Give me your hand, and let me know if you have any potty training advice. May it be so, and amen.
Though days be dark with storms and burdens weigh down my heart, though troubles wait at every turn, I know I can go on. And